Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
I'm Ryan.
And this week, we are talking about some things that are happening in, I think it's not Norway, Denmark, about blood transfusions. We have also the loss of an ex-JW who has written some books that we're going to be talking about this morning, as well as some other stories coming your way. So stay tuned and let's get into this week's show. Where's the rest of the song? Like, we were jamming out.
I'm listening to it.
I know.
I'm jamming out to it. Good morning, everybody.
Cut it off like that. So, hope everybody's doing well on this fine Wednesday morning and isn't too hungover from last night.
Oh, God, fuck me. Fucking help me. Fucking Lord Jesus, please pray over my body. What? Okay.
Prey?
Yeah, I feel like I'm being over. Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's more like what's happening. That
certainly feels as that way.
But anyways, we're not here to get into politics on the show, even though we do once in a while, but that's really not.
I mean, sometimes you have to sometimes, man. When people be messing with your human rights, they make human rights political. You got to get political, I guess. It's not like we're choosing it.
No, we're not. And I choose rights for everybody to have equally, not just men over women.
Amen. Absolutely.
So anyways, how about we get started with the day's topics here, huh?
Ooh, let's do it. What are we going to start with? Let's heat it up. Let's warm it up.
I say we start off on that bloody topic that we talked about.
Oh, the blood topic?
Yeah.
Let's do it. We can talk about the blood topic. Let me pull that up really quickly. Boom. So as you can see, the Jehovah's Witnesses lose at the Human Rights Court in Denmark. There have been a few cases where it has come to pass that people needed blood transfusions, as you do, as you know, emergencies arise. There's nothing that you can help about that. And every single person in this world could eventually need a blood transfusion. Unfortunately, Jehovah's Witnesses are instructed to not receive the life-saving transfusions. And a case starting back from 2014, where a 67-year-old Jehovah's Witness named Leif Lindholm fell off a ladder and then had to go to the hospital. And even though he had his blood card with him, the hospital still gave him a blood transfusion. And unfortunately, he died a few weeks later. It has nothing to do with blood transfusion. It's just because of he succumbed to his wounds from the fall. They did everything that they could, the doctors, to save his life, because that's their job. They take an oath to save the people's lives who are in front of them. But I believe it was his wife who decided to sue him, or the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not really sure, because it says the Jehovah's Witnesses filed a case with the Human Rights Court. So I don't know if they were the ones who approached her and said, hey, let's sue him, or she approached the JWs and said, hey, can you help me?
It's not clear which way it went on that one in this article, but the conclusion of the matter for this whole case was that the doctor did not violate the patient's rights.
Yep.
Even though the witnesses argued that they did, because in Denmark, there's actually a provision for if a patient is unconscious, that they are allowed to basically do what's necessary to save the patient's life. And that's what this doctor did. Even now, the caveat is this patient did succumb to his wounds and died within a couple of weeks of this. But the fact of the matter is the doctors were able to do everything they could, and they were within their legal rights to save this person's life.
Right. They did their job, and they took care of somebody who was dying. The man likely would have died immediately that moment. He did live for another 2 weeks later, so, there was a possibility that he could have survived, but unfortunately, that just wasn't the case. And I do wonder, had he survived, would they still have sued? Would there be a different outcome? I wonder.
I could, and I really don't know, but according
Yeah,
to
we
how
don't.
this article is written, I would almost say that the outcome would have still been the same because there was, like I said earlier, there was that provision for if they're unconscious that a patient can be given a blood transfusion even if they didn't want it.
Right. Either way, it's a
So
sad situation.
it is.
Somebody passed away, but it's weird to me to bring a whole court case about it.
And what's really weird is that the witnesses here are fighting for a person to die over their convictions rather than what they try to always show, always not show, but always try to tell their followers is how life is so precious and we must, do what we can. But when it comes to blood, don't you dare, you better die.
Right. Nothing's precious when it comes to blood, even though blood is supposed to be the most precious things. Please make that make sense to me. Explain that hypocrisy and oxymoronic sentiment.
I mean, we are too, Dad. We are too.
Hugs to everybody. We love you. We
Yes.
absolutely love you, and we have you, and we have each other, and just remember that. Don't forget that part.
Exactly. Let me add one other thing to this story we're talking about, though, because the witnesses are very underhanded in how they deal with these situations too. Because if you remember in one of their propaganda videos, they propped up a child who died because he didn't get a blood transfusion.
Right.
I think the kid's name was Jared or something like that.
Put him on a pedestal as like something he did that was heroic.
Yeah. And, it wasn't heroic. The kid lost his life. He lost out on every opportunity imaginable because he didn't survive it because of this doctrine. So it's deplorable.
It really is. And there's probably people dying that we don't even know about, that just never gets reported or fly under the radar.
Of course. And if you remember, I'd have to find out which show it was, and there's a lot to go through now. We did on one of our shows have a map of people who died from blood transfusion, refusing blood transfusions to the best of their ability. Of course, there always might be errors and some that are missing, but there was a lot on that map. I mean, it was, I think it was a worldwide map of it, and there was quite a few people on there. So,
yeah, too many, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, one is too many, but the multitudes that the witnesses have had over the years and decades because of this policy is just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it really breaks my heart because, again, we've talked about like infant mortality and maternal mortality, and it's already a dangerous situation when you're having a baby, and to have a baby and then possibly bleed out. And, as a brand new mom, you die and never really get to meet your baby. There's just so many possibilities that are frightening for a woman specifically because of, just how our bodies operate. And I don't think that that's acknowledged in the organization whatsoever.
No, it's not.
Oh. Typical.
Yep, it is. So what do you say? Shall we move on to our next disgusting topic?
Yes, let's talk about another disgusting topic, please. Ooh,
Yeah.
so
Disgusting
excited.
is our game. Let's do this.
Mm.
Let's get gross.
Ooh, great googly moogly.
Well, this next one I got for you is coming out of Korea. And we have, this is just absolutely gross, a 50-year-old elder. And now, mind you, the translation is a little bit
Yeah, I'm
funky at
sure.
times on these because it says a 50-year-old executive of the religious group. He was an elder.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not put it any other way. He was an elder. Committed crimes against minors and others while in the witness organization. Now, there was this one girl in particular who was a 16-year-old high school student at the time of this incident. And this guy has some damn cojones on him because right here it says he was claiming he was in a romantic relationship with the victim. Like, gross. I mean, seriously, is just disgusting. And then on top of that, he's using, of course, it doesn't say which one, but says he's using a large law firm to defend him. So
Delusional.
he's putting some money into trying to save his ass on this, really, is what it's saying. But he was arrested. He was indicted on charges of forced molestation and the violation of the Act on the Protection of Children and Youth from Sexual Abuse, harassment by hierarchy, and he appealed the verdict on the 28th. It doesn't say which month it was, but he's trying to get a retrial in a higher court following the lower court's decision.
Of course he is.
Yeah, of course.
Because he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
This was a relationship.
Not. Yes. I was in a romantic relationship. I loved her.
How completely delulu to be in a one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
Bro, your brain's broken.
So here's what his sentence was that he is trying to appeal. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. And this is also because he was a risk of fleeing. The court also ordered him to complete a 40-hour sexual violence treatment program and is restricted him from working with children and youth related institutions and welfare facilities for the disabled for 5 years.
5 years?
5 years is, it should be permanent,
forever.
Not 5 years.
Yeah, forever, ever.
Yeah. So I think that's a rather minor sentence that he got for what he did.
Mm-hmm. Got off scot-free, got off easy.
Pretty much. And, later on in this story here, they tried to say how this was reported to the elders in the Kingdom Hall, and they removed him or disfellowshipped him for it. But of course, they didn't report it to the police. And then,
of course they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And the victim, though, there was some very clear statements that she made about this guy. Okay. She stated that she never felt any romantic feelings towards this guy. Of course, this guy was also married at the time as well.
Oh,
he did this.
Nope. Fucking piece of shit pervert. Okay. I'm listening.
So, and then the court says the victim gave specific and consistent statements about the damage she suffered, and there were no irrational or contradictory parts in the victim's statements. And then he said the reason for sentencing was the victim's statement contains such clear and specific details that it could not have been stated without experiencing it firsthand. Again, he did not get sentenced nearly enough, and this is just absolutely ridiculous.
Now, yes, am I thankful that this sweet little victim remembered everything, was able to give an eloquent statement, and da 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 da. What about when you can't do that? They specifically said about homeboy working with disabled. What if they're working with somebody who's nonverbal and is unable to communicate the issues that they are going through? Then what? Then they wouldn't listen because, it's not as concise. Victims are victims no matter the case, and the terminology drives me effing wild.
Oh, and get this. This is just more layers of screwed up too.
Oh, brother.
So they were asked to disclose documents from the Kingdom Hall, which excluded the personal information of the victim. So, redact that information, but have the other information as to what happened and everything, right? Okay. And then they wanted to see what the church did with this, the follow-ups, the measures, the countermeasures. And see, all they said was the internal documents are confidential, so it's difficult to confirm. What? They are. We need another Palmer to go in and steal these documents and turn them into authorities.
Exactly, because people have no idea who they're up against.
No, they don't.
They just see these friendly, smiley people, and they just assume that, things are going okay, and nobody could commit such heinous crimes. Well, guess what? Not only are they committing the crimes, but they're documenting the crimes, and then they're not passing on the information to the proper authorities. How about that?
Well, if you also remember, now in elders meetings, elders have been instructed not to keep notes or records.
Yeah.
So if they write anything down, they're supposed to either get rid of it or just not write anything down at all because of this right here. But that's even more fucked up because now you're covering up crimes and these victims are not going to get the justice they deserve. It's just so infuriating what they do.
Mm-hmm. And it really is layered. And unless you take the time to peel back and understand how they operate, you wouldn't get it.
Yes. So
sad.
Hats off to the victim for giving her statement and what she did. She is a real hero in this story, and this dude did not get near enough punishment for his crime. I'm sorry.
No, thank goodness this person was so incredibly strong and able to give their, assessment of what happened and whatnot. And that was, part of what made them trust and believe her. But again, not everybody is able to have that recall. And sometimes the dysregulation that happens when you're put into these situations, you might not be able to form, the right kind of words that somebody will just believe you. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. I can't even believe this dude has an opportunity to take this to court and get a huge lawyer and fight for himself. That's the infuriating thing. Jenny B said, why isn't homie in prison, bro?
He's fighting against a child.
Yeah.
So he doesn't go to prison or get punished more against a child.
Mm-hmm. That's what it comes down to. That's who we're fighting against.
Absolute piece of human shit.
Just like that.
All
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's move along.
Moving along. We've got doozies today with the JWs. I tell you what.
Yeah, we do.
You want me to pull up the letter?
Yes.
The special letter.
Ooh. Some more infuriating stuff.
So, y'all, you're not going to believe this. So the Jehovah's Witnesses, as they do, wrote a letter to Norway's Ministry of Children and Family Affairs in response to them being cut off from their state funding and registration because of how they handle disfellowshipping. Well, they're trying to show in this letter that they've changed their rules in order to keep disfellowshipping as a last resort. And they even like put some of this information in their Watchtower publication. So I guess everybody is, reading about these alleged changes, but they're hoping to convince the ministry that they've made enough changes to get their funding and registration back. So what we see in front of us here, this letter, this 2-page letter, is them trying to prove that they have changed their tune and they deserve to get all their money back, their subsidies that they've lost, which I believe were like over, was it $1 million, or I can't remember how much it was. Do y'all remember?
It was like, I think it was in the amount of like 1.5 million or something in
That sounds
American
right. A bit over $1
money.
million. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think it equates to more from the American conversion into the Norwegian money, but still $1.5 million. I mean, that's a good chunk of money.
It's a good chunk of money. And what frustrated me when I read this is all of the like tricky weasel words that they're using and the double talk and like talking out of the side of their mouth, and nothing's truly explained. They're using terms that are still kind of like nebulous and murky. And that, in my opinion, is very intentional, because there are not clear definitions for how you're now supposed to handle somebody who's considered removed.
Well, exactly. But we all know that when somebody gets to that point where they've met with the elders, there's going to be rumors going around about that person already, and they're going to get preemptively shunned even when they don't know what's going on. Yep, exactly.
Yes.
You're right, Jenny. Word salad.
That's exactly how I felt when I read it. A lot of word salad. Like they're saying things like last resort. Okay, so it's going to be a last resort when it comes to removing somebody. Well, what's a last resort? Okay, well, they say that they meet with this person, whoever this, do-badder, instead of a do-gooder, we got a do-badder. Whoever this do-badder is, we meet with them several times. Okay, well, what is several times to you? Is several times exactly 7? Is it 2, even though 2 is really just a couple? What do you mean by several? What happens? And what do you consider repentful in your eyes? What I might consider being repentful to an elder in another congregation might not consider it so. So like they say, they're like, they pushing it off, so that way they don't have to disfellowship people, and they're doing everything they can. But is it really any change? It sounds to me more the same, just more of the exact same. More meetings with the exact same people who were not trained.
Yeah, exactly. And in a lot of ways, I almost feel like it's going to be the same outcome anyways.
It is, because that's how it's really meant to be. It's meant to still be shameful. I can't even, like, I've been wrapping my head around how these organizations commit all of these. I don't know what to say, commit, but they set up these, I want to say like ceremonies or rituals like of shame, where you're meant to feel shame. And it doesn't matter that some of the procedure changes. The intent is that somebody is being shamed and harmed. That part has not changed whatsoever. And they make it like, oh, well, it's nice, or it's not so bad. No, it's still embarrassing.
And then this weasel sentence here, it says a removed or disassociated person can be reinstated within a few months if they show genuine repentance. So that's a big if.
What does that mean?
Genuine repentance?
Yeah.
How do you measure if somebody is genuinely repentant? We already know you don't think crying is genuinely repentant.
Yeah. I know I cried. They didn't give 2 Fs.
So what shows genuine repentance? And within a few months, that means you'd have to be like super great to get that, but because we all know most cases are going to be 6 months to several years.
Yeah, I really want to know what this means. Does this mean that like disfellowshipping isn't like a couple years now, how it used to be? Now it's just going to be a few months. That's the punishment now, and it's supposed to be better because it's not as a long of time. Give me a freaking break.
Yeah. And they're just using weasel words. They're really trying to do is grasp at straws to get money, and also they want to have the goal of getting back paid for the time that they've been removed as a religious organization as well.
Oh geez.
Because I mean, how long has it been? It's been since 2022 now that they've lost their funding.
Yeah, it's been a couple years, so they definitely have missed out on a few mills. Several mil, maybe.
Boo-hoo, cry me a river, suck it up.
I guess that is so. Now what? This is my confusion. Now what?
Well, my big hope is, and I'm pretty sure he's on top of this, Jan or John or however his name is pronounced, the guy in Norway who got this all started to begin with. I'm hoping that, I'm sure he's read the letter and is going to the Swedish or Norway government and saying, look, this is what this really means coming from them. Don't buy their bullshit that they're trying to give you. Because all they're trying to do is give you bullshit and gaslight you when the end result is still the exact same damn thing.
Yeah, it's just a lot of talking and no resolution. No one probably gets help for whatever problems that they had that got them disfellowship, because nobody's going to recommend anybody get any kind of therapy, because likely if you go to therapy, they're going to tell you you probably should not be going to the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall.
Yeah, exactly. So let's hope that Norway still sticks it to them and sees through this bullshit.
Yeah, I don't think these are real changes, other than the fact that maybe it only lasts a few months. But again, it's all going to be up to these individual persons' decisions, because it's not hard cut rules. They're meant to be ambiguous and vague intentionally.
Yes, they are.
Guess we'll see what happens.
Yep, we will.
More changes on the horizon.
So shall I go on to our final story of the week?
Let's do it.
Okay. So for those of you out there who are aware, we have an author whose name is James Penton. Not only is he an author, but he was a professor of history, and he wrote 3 books related to the JW's history. He wrote a book called Jehovah's Witnesses in Canada, Apocalypse Delayed, The Story of Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jehovah's Witnesses and the Third Reich. So, and I have not read any of these books, honestly. I have heard of them, and I'd like to get to them one day, but I have not read them. He passed away recently.
Very sad.
So there he is on the screen. And I know his works because, well, I'll just say it. Lloyd Evans referenced him in his books and on his channel quite a few times in his works. So he has a lot of good information there. And I know that, and especially when it comes to learning the history about Jehovah's Witnesses in Nazi Germany, that part of history, that's where we found out about the letters to Hitler that Rutherford wrote. Was it Rutherford?
Russell. No.
Yeah, Rutherford. Yeah, Rutherford.
Oh, Rutherford?
Yeah, Russell was the first.
Russell's dead. Yeah, sorry. I'm like tired. I'm too tired.
No, you're fine. I'm mixing it up too.
Why they both have to have our last word? Like, come on. Russell and Rutherford. Come on now.
I don't know.
Why'd they have to do that to us?
But anyways, if you haven't checked those books out, I can't say I recommend them because I haven't read them, but go check them out. And if you recommend it, let me know.
I'd love to read the Third Reich one. That one sounds super interesting. Yeah, I don't think people realize like just how involved our leaders were with these different movements, writing letters, having these conversations, talks, etc.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to find out how involved they are with political leaders nowadays either. Even though
Yeah.
they say to stay neutral, I'm sure they're involved somewhere, somehow.
Yep. I'm sure they just have the lobbies doing all the work for them so they can keep their hands clean.
Because these cults don't just run benignly in countries without somebody pushing for them at the government's levels.
Right.
Okay.
Rutherford.
Rutherford. Yeah. Did you need to get in here, Sadie?
That's a good one. I like that, Jay. Thank you, Rutherford.
Oh,
yeah, great books. Very sad that this gentleman has passed away. Large contributions to people like us. So that way the world can see what the Jehovah's Witnesses are doing behind the scenes. So
yeah, he's one of the OG apostates. So rest in power, my friend. Rest in power.
Yeah. We appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Wherever you are, thank you for all your contributions to the cause.
Yes. Even though I never got to meet you or read your books, I'm still appreciative of the work that you have done.
And it will continue to make a difference for years to come.
Yes, it will. And that's why, I think even with people who aren't authors or anything, but just people like us, just your average Joes here, getting out here, every little bit makes a difference. Getting the word spread, people to find out, about these things. Every little bit helps in that cause, but especially some of these other guys that are like the big hitters, they're truly inspirational.
We all can make a difference. We really truly can, and it's about working together and not being afraid of this organization, or sadly not being afraid of the loss of any friends and family that we might face.
Yeah.
Yes, Emily, it's up to us to carry the torch now.
I was just about to put that one up too. You beat me to it, dang it.
Yep. Thank you, Emily. I agree.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, absolutely. So that's all I got for today. Do you have anything else you wanted to?
Oh, I did have something, but I can just tell you there was another teen died due to the abortion ban. I think she was 19.
18 years old.
Yeah, I just thought I would let you guys know that. I might have put it in the description. So if you guys want to like check it out, you can read it for yourself. But there it is, just really quickly. So yeah, a lot more women, a lot more babies are going to die with this abortion ban. Women, we need healthcare, and it's nobody's business what's happening with our body but us and our doctor. And oh boy, am I afraid for what's coming down the pipe.
Well, I was doing a little research, and since 2020, infant mortality rates have risen like 20%.
Yeah.
So
they're steadily increasing.
So that's just in states now that have these bans. If they make it the entire country, you can expect that number to triple or more.
People hemorrhaging, bleeding out, sepsis, things like that, organ failure. I mean, it's pretty common, sadly, when people are having babies. So yeah, this number will continue to increase if we don't address the terrible healthcare that we have in this country. There's no reason that women are dying at such an incredible rate. Like, we're supposed to be a leader. And we're one of the worst when it comes to infant and maternal mortality. That make sense. And how do people not care? I'm confused when people don't get why we need this kind of healthcare. It's so confusing to me. They hate me. What in my head, what I think is you hate me and you want me dead. That's the things that go on in my head. You don't respect me. You don't think I'm worthy of life and making my own decisions, and that you need to do it for me.
And like I said last week, I don't care what you believe in as far as a God, if you believe it's okay or not. If you truly believe in a God that's going to judge everybody, let him judge the people and let them have their rights to do what they got to do.
Right. If he's the ultimate judge, then I'll face him when it's time. Who the F are you?
Yeah.
If I'm not breaking the law, well, let's fix the law so we're not breaking the law, but
you say your God gives you free will, but you want to strip it away from me.
Thank you. Thank you. Please explain that oxymoronic statement. Show me how that works, because I'm so confused.
Exactly. Well, they just want you to have free will under their conditions.
Right. It's conditional free will.
Yep.
It's not actual free will.
Just like cultic love.
Yeah. Conditional love. I'll love you, but you have to follow these guidelines. Here's the guidelines. Yep. Here's the rule book. And the rule book is ambiguous.
Yes.
Not everything is defined. Good luck figuring it out.
And it changes according to how we feel during the day, during the week.
Right.
Right.
It changes regularly. So make sure you read it regularly so you can keep up to date with the changes.
You can disagree with us as long as we disagree with us.
Yeah. Oh, brother. Well, thank you, everybody. This is going to be a rough couple of weeks as we try to adjust to. Yeah, this is going to be a rough couple of weeks.
It is very much so. So everybody, you're in our hearts, you're in our thoughts, we're feeling it just as much as you are. So
bro,
just don't know where to go from here. I really don't, but we're going to get it figured out.
We'll just go together. Wherever we go, we're going to go together. So it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll take on the MAGA logo. Where we go one, we go all.
That's right. One of us. One of us.
But believe me, I do not want it to be in the cultic sense that is. If you're not comfortable with going, please stay back.
I prefer not, but got to do what we got to do.
Exactly. So anyways, with that being said, we do love you all. We hope you have a great week. We hope you take time to take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, do what you got to do to deal with our new hellscape.
Yeah. Yeah. What I would really say, y'all, is continue to boycott, divest, don't buy products that kind of help protect the system, and continue to talk to your friends and family. I know it might be uncomfortable, but we have to continue to have these discussions. And what I plan to do is to get more involved with my local community. And from there, you can build a better system locally, even if on the grand scheme of things, shit is going a little bit whack. In your community, you can help protect each other. So that will be my goal moving forward.
And get involved in your local politics as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, I mean, local community politics. Yep.
Yeah, because that's where you can really make a bigger impact. Yes, you can make an impact on the national stage, but you'll make a bigger impact in your local community.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be where you really feel it.
Yeah. So.
All right, y'all.
Yep. All right. Take care. We will see you all next week. And
like and share.
Everybody, like and share. Thank you. Have a great week.
Pasta your way.